What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Trent the Truth Show. I'm your host, Trent the Truth. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're listening from, thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to our podcast on Spotify and YouTube. It's the Trent the Truth Show. And while you're doing that, give us some love on social media. It's Trent the Truth on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you search. Real quick, today's episode is brought to you by Gold Coast Gang, GCG. Gold Coast Gang, the brand for creators of art, style, and taste. Home of the infamous Louis Vuitton, a brand for the people. Premium goods at practical prices. For more information, follow Gold Coast Gang on Instagram and Facebook, and check out the website at www.goldcoastgang.shop. Again, that's www.goldcoastgang.shop. Hit us up Instagram on the website, place your orders, support a local black business. And like I tell you guys, if you want to be a guest, you want to sponsor an episode, you got any questions, comments, or anything you want me to address, just email me at trentthetruthshow@gmail.com. Again, that's trentthetruthshow@gmail.com. And for the people out there in TV land, you know we got the QR code on the screen ready for you to pull your phone out and make your donation. But whatever you do with the Trent the Truth Show, whether it's a question, comment, you want to be a sponsor, guest, whatever it is, we truly appreciate your interaction and love for the Trent the Truth Show. And continuous proof of that is we got another great guest with us today. We got Dr. Bernie Lynn with us. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All right. Thank you for coming out, man. Fellow Stain gang, you know, that Mustang love and blonde just runs deep. Like we damn near, well, we are family.
Yes, we are.
So I'm glad to be a part of that, number one. And I'm glad to just, even after school, 20 years later.
Ooh.
Have you even thought about that?
Ooh.
20 years later.
It's a blessing.
Right.
It's a blessing.
20 years later, it's still good to be able to maintain those relationships and be able to collaborate for different things here and there. So we got Dr. Bernie Lynn on the Trent the Truth Show with us today. What's been going on with you though? How you been?
I've been doing good. I'm blessed. You know, we had a full plate. Just balancing act. You know, I didn't know that. You know, the things you ask for, you get it, and you're like, all right, Lord, I asked for this. So yeah,
it's getting heavy now. What part of it is getting heavy for you at this moment?
What's getting heavy? Just the balancing act, you know. And once upon a time, I was like, you know, I want to go get my doctorate. I'm gonna become a pharmacist. I did it. All right, now you know, I want to get into this endeavor and this endeavor. Then you just, you know, just.
And you look up, you find yourself stretched out, pretty thin, and then
you just find yourself having to, manage your time differently.
Right. What made you get into the medical field?
It was a family business.
Okay.
So, I was considering other options at the time, and I ran them by my parents, and my dad was like, "Oh, what you gonna do? Major in basket weaving?" And I was just like, all right. So, you know, pharmacy, you know, my family owned pharmacies in Chicago. Then my dad opened up his pharmacies, and I started working there as a child, and then I just went ahead and just decided to just become a pharmacist myself.
Okay. That's pretty good. The way you just like casually just my family's pharmacist, my dad started. That's Black history.
Yeah. Yes,
that's Black history. That's good. Well, I guess this question would maybe be for your dad, but what was that process and how hard was it when he first started that pharmacy? Or do you remember anything?
So my dad started working at my great uncle and aunt's pharmacy in Inglewood and Bronzeville. They had different locations.
What was the name at the time?
Making Drugs.
Okay.
So, you know, they put him through pharmacy school. You know, he was just a store clerk, and, you know, and then, you know, when you have a family business, you got to figure out, all right, who's next in line, you know? So they put him through pharmacy school at UIC. And he graduated from that program. He started working at the family business, and then he acquired another pharmacy in Bronzeville that he took over.
Okay.
And that's where most of the time me and my siblings, we would work.
Okay. And then
but
go ahead, I'm sorry.
So, you know, the transition was fine. You know, it's a whole lot of different stories that go into it, but, you know, just acquiring his pharmacy and the way he acquired it. It's very interesting, but it's a long story.
Was your mom in pharmacy when they met already?
My mom would go to the pharmacy that they had in Inglewood, and this is at a time when Black businesses were really supporting Black businesses, and Black businesses were also supporting the community.
Right.
My family provided, back then, Black people had diabetes, but we couldn't afford insulin. So, my family would make, deals to ensure that we could provide insulin to the community at a rate at which they can afford.
Okay.
Our people were dying, losing limbs. So, but anyways, my mother would go in there frequently, and my great uncle, who was like my dad's mentor, was like, "You need to marry her." And my dad was like, engaged to another woman at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
he took uncle's advice.
And my mother didn't know, but anyways, they started dating. And then my father, at that time, being a minority at an institution that he was at, it was very difficult,
right,
for him, and he was about to give up. And my mother would sit in class and take notes for him. And one day he had an exam. He forgot his book at the school, and the school wouldn't open up so he could get his book out the locker. And my mom went up there in the middle of the night and asked janitors to open up the door so she could get his book from his locker.
Wow.
And so my father, ended up, making it through pharmacy school with, some support.
Right.
And yeah.
That's pretty good. So it turned out to be a family business, like you say. So when you got into it, though, was it something that you felt like you had to do, or you kind of was passionate about?
It was something that I already knew about it. It was something I was passionate about. And at that time, I was like, well, I don't need to be. I didn't really have a desire to be a physician, a medical MD. And I saw that we were doing well based on just, what we were able to do with the business. So pharmacy was just it was, something that I pursued, and I was passionate about it, but I was also passionate about other things. But I'm grateful.
Do you still think about those other things that you were passionate about, or you just kind of let it go and you full-fledged?
It's never too late.
Right. Yeah. What were some of the things that was on your mind before you decided to?
I was considering law school.
Okay.
I was considering journalism. So just.
Okay.
But I always wanted to go into real estate.
Okay.
But
So do you think you doing what you're doing for you versus just making the family proud, or did you?
A little bit of both. I think that when you're raising children, I think parents do need to allow their children to explore and be them, right? And not minimize or discourage the other things that they want to do.
Okay.
But back then, a lot of families were, you'd be a doctor, you'd be a lawyer, you'd be engineer, certain professions.
And see, the cross I come to with that whole situation is because I'm a father. I do understand that you have to guide your children, and I do understand that sometimes your children can make decisions and you can see the lineage of that decision, and you can tell yourself it may not be a good choice. And when you try to tell that to the child, it's either they'll sometimes accept it, sometimes they won't. But it's all in making sure you look out for that kid, or you just having their best interests at heart. So it is kind of like it is a battle. It is a battle. But easy. Do you think it's a certain age where that should happen? Like, let the kid do their own thing up until a certain age, and then if they don't have it together?
I think that you definitely have to aid and assist your child and point them in the right direction. So is there an age? Not necessarily an age. I think that we just been conditioned to always do what's safe.
Right.
So healthcare is always safe.
Of course.
Being an attorney, you can be a broke attorney. Not all attorneys are, and journalism. I mean, it is, I think, hard. I'm not sure what it is, but social media is such a tool, and it's allowing people to flourish in that lane. So in terms of that, I just think, just be supportive, but still also provide direction and redirection when necessary.
Are you glad that you kind of chose this, or you kind of?
I'm happy with my decision.
Okay, right, just living good.
I'm all right.
Okay. Where'd you go to school at?
Florida A&M for pharmacy school.
Okay. And what was that experience like? College?
I love my college experience.
Okay.
I met some of my. Actually, I've been friends with my friends since kindergarten, but I met some of my best friends in college. And we've had these wonderful experiences that I wouldn't have had if I would have stayed in, the Chicagoland area.
Mm-hmm.
From road tripping to, just the Southern Greek life. And just, I can go to many states in this country and, be good. Like, my friends have been there for me in many different, points in my life when, like my brother, he was stranded out in New Orleans during a hurricane. And I reached out to one of my friends who lives in New Orleans from college. And I said, hey, my brother's stranded. Can you go ahead and send him a care package? Next day, she's shopping. She drops his care package off of my brother.
Okay.
It's just things like that.
The relationships that you can build.
The lifelong relationships that you build.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And you say you went to Florida A&M?
For pharmacy school.
Okay.
In Jackson State for undergrad.
I think I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. Was you there with Dion?
I was there. There was a Dion effect. I was grown and, but we would go back for homecomings and
Right.
It was a time.
Right,
it was definitely a time.
Right.
I'm grateful to experience that. We had
What's the big difference from regular colleges and HBCUs, would you say? What would you say would be the big difference? Besides culture. Of course, culture is
Besides culture and relationships, like you build, I don't think that the relationships that I have, I would have been able to get that at necessarily some PWIs. And then having professors and deans and chairs who really want you to succeed. I remember I was applying for an internship and I told my chair of the chemistry department, he was Chinese, and I said, I need a letter of recommendation. He had the letter of recommendation ready for me that same day. I don't think that I would have gotten that at, some of the other institutions. And for him to even develop a relationship, like I would sit in his office and we would just have chit chat, talk about different options in the future and just things that I'm, pursuing. He was definitely, a powerful force in my life at that time.
That's pretty good. You talked about Greek life. Did you pledge?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I pledged.
Who do you belong to, or what would you?
Who did I belong to? I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What was that process like? Pledging.
It was relationship building.
Okay.
For sure. Being active. In the community. You were a community service-based organization. And we, really just cater to the community and different initiatives that we have. But, the process was just a lot of team building, getting to know your sisters, something that I just don't take for granted. I'm grateful for.
That's pretty good. I follow you on social media, mm-hmm. and I see that you have extended yourself into real estate. Mm-hmm. It's almost seemed like every 6 months you buying a house. What is that process like? How is that? Like, I know it's fun, and I know it has its adventures. Mm-hmm. What's the goal with what you're doing? Are you just buy and flip, fix and flip, or what is it? What are you trying to do? So
when I first, decided that I wanted to purchase real estate, I was kind of unsure about which way I wanted to get into real estate. So I, got approved for a mortgage back in like 2017, 2016, I don't remember. Because I was just going to buy a house. I was just like, okay, buy a house. I got approved for $500,000 at that time, mm-hmm. right? And I was like, okay. But I was like, no, I don't want to use all that. And then I don't want to buy something and then I'm in debt of that house. You got to constantly go to work to make sure you can pay the mortgage. Like it's going to be a never ending cycle. And I mentioned it to my father and he told me, well, do you have a house or does that house have you? And I said, okay. So then I had to go back to the drawing board.
So look, let me ask you this before you go further. When he asked you that though, what did that question mean to you?
It means that I would be constantly trying to keep this home.
Right.
I will be in a rat race. This home would then have ownership of me. I don't own this home. This home owns me. I gotta go to work. And now I'm definitely in debt to this job because I have to pay this mortgage that's hanging over my head. You know, and you know, you have to make sacrifices because you gotta make this note.
Right. So how did you approach it though? Like, okay, so you got approved for the $500,000. You said you didn't want to get nothing for $500,000. So what'd you do? Did you explain that the first home you bought?
The first home I bought, so I had to completely go back to the drawing board and figure out how I wanted to do things differently.
Okay.
So I said, okay, well, if I got approved for this amount in a mortgage, for sure they'll give me a line of credit for like 80, 90, 100. Banks denied me. I'm like, what?
Ain't that crazy though?
For sure.
They'll let you get $500,000 in debt. But $40,000-$50,000 to advance and improve, we'll have to say no.
Yes. So I had to go back to the drawing board. So then I started looking at other options at auctions. I started looking at auctions, and I ended up, you know, bidding on homes that were like starting value, you know, starting bid $0, starting bid $1, starting bid $1,000, starting bid $2,500. So I start playing with that. And then
these are dilapidated homes.
These are, well, you would think.
Okay.
Yeah, they're dilapidated homes. Some,
but
not all.
Back taxes.
But you don't, whether foreclosure. So these are people who did not make their mortgage. So the bank then takes over ownership. And so now I'm buying the home directly from the bank.
Okay.
So I started playing online with the auctions, and I got my first home from an auction. I can't remember what the starting bid was, but you know, I ended up getting that one for like $12,000 and some change.
Okay.
So that was my first home, which is crazy to get a house for $12,000. That's nuts. And it was sight unseen. I did as much drive-bys as I could, as much, you know, they say you can't trespass on the home, but you know, I was, you know, doing what I had to do. So I looked at the home. It was like, it has a good roof. I said, okay, that's going to let me know that there's no water damage due to weather. Great. I don't want to deal with mold. I don't want to deal with that. So that gave me some inkling that, you know, take a shot on this house. And I ended up winning it. And I go into it for the first time. It's me, my mother, and my contractor. And we go inside, and I'm just like flabbergasted because it's in really great condition. So that was, you know, in the rehab process. Yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it.
And then you finished that. Are you still there, or you?
I still own it.
Okay. Do you buy homes to sell them, or you just?
They're investments.
How many homes do you have right now?
A handful.
A handful. That's good. So, like you said, the investments is the goal to later on at some point sell it, or just to be able to have a place for your families.
I haven't decided yet.
But it's good to have those options. Okay. That's good. That's really good. Okay, so you're in the medical field. You're a pharmacist. Are you continuing the family business, or are you somewhere separately but still in pharmacy?
Oh, no, I'm not continuing the family business.
Okay. Okay, so you're still in pharmacy separately. You're buying houses. Okay. I know you said your plate is full. Are you dating, or like what's going on with that? Like, it seems like you don't have time, but you know,
people make time for what they choose to make time for.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm sure that's a juggle though. Like, I'm sure that's a juggle. What are your views on relationships?
I think relationships are very important. Like,
okay.
What do you mean in terms of?
At this point right now, you said people make time for what they want. So, you said your plate is full. Do you have time to be involved, or it's kind of just like catering to needs, or what is that? What is this particular period looking like for you in regards to dating?
You having fun. I do my thing. I'm not having fun. I'm just doing my thing.
Okay.
You know, dating, dating. I'm not sure what you mean by dating.
Well, okay, so let me say this. Like I said, I follow you on social media. Pharmacist, homeowner, you're a beautiful woman.
Thank you.
But I see you talk a lot about, like, being single. I'll stay single. You talk about that a lot, and to the untrained eye, I would assume, like, why isn't somebody with her, or so I just wanted to know, like, how does that look for you right now at this moment? Like, are you open to dating, or are you just, because you said your plate is so full?
I've never been closed off to dating, right? Dating does require energy. It requires a lot of energy, and so a lot of people aren't necessarily,
applying pressure.
I'm not saying applying pressure. I'm just saying you got to be more specific with your questions, Trent.
Well,
I mean, so when it comes to dating, is just such a.
Because okay, well, let me. I'm only asking because it's pretty often that you'll go on some rants, and you'll make some stories, and you'll talk about the dating scene and what it looks like. You say it's pee in the pool, and you say these guys are clueless, and I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out some of your experiences, like people in the farm, like males in the medical field, like are they coming to you? Are they? What is? Like, how does it all seem? How does it all look? Because it would seem like people should be falling at your feet. You got some qualities to you, but you always talk about dating. So I guess I wanted to find out from you what it looked like and your experiences.
And I've had some really wonderful dating experiences.
Okay.
I've had some, I've had partners in the past or relationships in the past where I wouldn't trade it in for the world. Right?
Okay.
But when you're going from dating onto further steps, like marriage, right? Marriage is a really big commitment.
It is.
Marriage is a legally binding contract.
More of a business than anything.
It's a business. Marriage is work.
Yes.
It's constant work. So, dating is on one level and marriage is on another level. And you just have to, when you're signing this legally binding contract, you have to assess the risks, the benefits. There's liabilities associated with it, and you just really have to really get to know that person. So, for me, I just haven't, in my 30s, necessarily found someone that I wanted to marry.
Are you looking?
What's looking? I'm not looking.
Right. Are you putting yourself in position to be found, noticed, met? Like, are you going places? Do you the social life? Are you going out, stuff like that, or how they gonna find you?
And it's a whole group of us. We're just like, nah.
It's a whole group of y'all that don't go out, don't do nothing. Okay, so y'all want men to come knock on y'all door, like, hey, I'm the man you're looking for?
That's what the Lord is gonna. I'm just. I don't know.
Wow. Okay, because like I said, I see it a lot. I see what's going on. One post that I saw you put up, it said, "I really should be married by now, but these Chicago dudes ain't worth marrying." What does that mean?
Ooh,
it's
like,
like
look at you.
You take the attendance of Chicago. It's like 10 million or more in Chicago. You cut that in half because there's women, 5 million men.
Dang, you took a screenshot. You was like, I want to dig into bringing.
Yeah, because I see what you be putting on there, and I said, look, I'm gonna get on this show and I'm gonna cut her ass up. I'm gonna cut her ass up because you be going, you be driving.
Ooh.
So let me ask you this. Are you looking for somebody in your field, or does the man have to, what requirements do you have of men that want to step to you?
Character is very important. Character is number one.
Okay.
I put character over anything.
Okay.
Money can be made, money can be lost.
Okay.
But I have to, I will have to marry a man that I admire. I want to look at you and I want to admire you.
Okay.
So that for me, because of, that doesn't necessarily come easy. Can you think of a lot of people that you admire? Like a whole lot?
No, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. So should that be a qualifier? Like, maybe you can grow to admire that person, or things got to be intact at the beginning. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. The character.
Okay.
Character is key.
Okay, so the career is, he could be a manager at Foot Locker. He could be an Uber driver. Money
can be made, money can be lost.
Okay.
Jobs are temporary, jobs can be lost, jobs can be...
Because you the one... You the big dog, so...
What do you mean I'm the big dog?
You're a homeowner, you're in the medical, you're a pharmacist.
I don't subscribe.
You got all your teeth.
I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe to that.
I mean to a lot of people, it would appear that you got it together. You know what I'm saying? In regards to what you do for yourself and how you keep yourself up. So I don't know. Maybe is your inbox blowing up? Like, I get confused. I get confused because I see the requirements. I see what you say, and for someone of your status, like you said, you should be married by now. But what's the problem? Is it them? Is it you? Is it?
You editing this, right?
What? So I want to know. So I'm asking because even with the things that you say, you said something like, we live in a society where everyone thinks they're a catch.
We do live in a society where a lot of people think they are catches. I don't know if I'm talking loud enough.
You good?
Okay, sorry. Yes, we live in a society where everyone thinks that not everyone. There are some people who do suffer from self-esteem issues who do not feel adequate. So let me take that back. Not everyone, but a lot of people do believe they are the catch, right? But I'm just a firm believer that being equally yoked. If you know what you're coming with, and that's not in terms of just money. When I say when your character, when your beliefs and what you put out into the world, and with this other person and everything that they're coming with, and when you guys align, you guys are each other's prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're a catch. Yes, he or she may be a catch, and now they align and they are, in a perfect alignment, and they're just, and hopefully, everything is on the up and up. But
you say you should be married by now, so that's not to say that. I mean, that's a goal. That's something that you feel like should have happened. Do you feel?
I mean, well, when I was 21, I was in a relationship and my boyfriend ended up passing. That was a man that I had prepared myself.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. That was a man that I had prepared myself to, marry, and we talked about houses and where we're gonna live. These are the preparations being made. So I've experienced a love story. I've had it, and I'm grateful. And again, I wouldn't take that time back for anything. So just, moving forward, I'm not looking for a replacement. I'm just looking for alignment.
Okay.
And so, that is what's more complicated, because again, a marriage can crumble, and then you are looking at, women gotta pay, hundreds of thousands or whatever.
Alimony, baby.
Yeah. So, you just I look at the risks, and,
you gotta protect your assets. So that's the thing. That's what's keeping you, or?
I'm not gonna say it's keeping me, but it's definitely a factor.
Don't nobody want what you got?
Okay.
It's nice. It's nice,
Okay.
but I mean, just coming from a point of understanding, because it seems like somebody you could find somebody that will match what you say, but then maybe it's devoid of love. What if the love is there with somebody, but they don't have anything else that you're looking for?
Mm-hmm.
You know they about you, they love you, it's you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm asking because I see it all the time. Now you could take a man who is successful in his career, assets and all those types of things, living good, money isn't a problem. He don't have a problem dating anybody.
Right.
He could date the waitress, he could date the CEO.
Correct.
But that's not the same mindset with women though. Why?
When you say, I think that there is that I'm not going to say that that's the case. I'm not going to agree. There are women who have no problem. Look at Candy Burris. Like, you know, she dated, you know, she married, I don't know what Todd was in film and producing, whatever. Mm-hmm. But, you know, Candy Burris was a multimillionaire. I think Todd was a thousandaire. You know what I mean? I mean,
a thousandaire.
Yeah.
He's making money.
It doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is just the difference of what they were making, right? She didn't care because this man was supposed to be all about her. You know, he provided her everything and he signed a prenup. So, I mean, you know, but for me, honestly, again, it all really goes back to, you know, character, okay. You know, and what I see may or may not be a problem, and what I see, you know, that someone is, you know, does that may be a problem.
Okay. So, okay, that's your specific standpoint, but I guess, so I guess you can't speak for all women, but the majority of the mindset in most women is not character. It's what you're making.
It's what she's making, what he's making, and what opportunity he brings, and you know. But I grew up with a father who had money. You know what I mean? I grew up with a father who kept me by his hip. So I wasn't necessarily looking at a man for money. Mm-hmm. You know, in the business that we were in, character was very important. How someone operates is very important. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bit more deeper than that.
Okay.
And honestly, a lot of people, they don't understand that. So.
Okay. I do understand that. Mm-hmm. I do. How important is family to you?
Very important.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm asking because this was a little while ago. Mm-hmm. This was a long time ago. I seen, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I saw you talking about your dad. Mm-hmm. And you talked about how your dad had a lot of fun in his marriage. Mm-hmm. How important is just sticking together, having a common goal outside of just small things that women can forgive, I guess, or overcome? Like, I don't know, what are deal breakers for you in relationships that would have you break the whole plan of this family goal, this, you know, everything that we building right now? Like is cheating like some sort of deal breaker when you know you have the family dynamic together? Like, what is that? I saw you talk about that, and I wanted to ask you. Because you shared it, so I figured.
But you got me on camera, dog.
Yeah. Trent, the Truth Show.
So, when you say cheating, what do you consider cheating?
I consider cheating astray from the family plan. Mm-hmm. Like if it's you and me, and this is our goals for the family, for ourselves, how we're gonna act, perform, who we're gonna be, straying away from that. Dishonesty. It's hard because even in what I define as cheating, I don't want what I don't say to seem as if it's condoned. But I don't see it as such a deal breaker.
So for me, there is a difference between a moment and a pattern.
Right. Okay.
You know, a pattern is a problem.
Okay. Moments can be.
I'm not going to say that because we don't know what that moment really looks like. If that moment is wild, I don't know. But there is a difference between a moment and a pattern.
Okay. And you can understand moments.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a difference between a moment and a pattern. But I don't, agree with any of it.
Right. Okay. So I guess, let me ask you this way. You're married. You involved, you and your husband. He's in the same field, maybe, or he's in a field that's respectable.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all making good money.
Mm-hmm.
He's Dr. Huxtable. You're Claire,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got that whole dynamic going, but there's a moment had.
Mm-hmm.
What's like? Because I see the whole discourse on social media, like, it's monogamy over just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you say,
is someone going to rip up their whole life and put the kids through torture, right? Through a divorce, and now you have to sever money and sever your household. It's just, and it's a long process. Divorce is a very long process. So, and at the end of the day, who's to say that the next person, your Prince Charming, doesn't have a moment?
right?
So for me, and this is all hypothetical because I'm not really in this situation,
Right.
I think that that's for I don't know if that's something that is necessarily a deal breaker for myself.
Okay.
But to each their own, and it's respectful and it's definitely understood.
Okay. Because see, I wanted to, I guess I wanted to get what you thought about that, because I see it so much as a deal breaker, but men don't necessarily look at it that way in regards to the whole picture.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even me and my wife, we talk about things, and a lot of times women will commonly say, I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that how you feel with things, or is it partnership, or are you a parent in relationships, or?
I mean, I'm never gonna be the I don't want to know woman.
So you going through phones?
I don't go through phones.
Intuition, you one of them?
I don't know what I am.
Okay.
I've never been in this situation.
Okay. But you're trying to be, because you feel you should be married right now, right?
I don't know. I mean, in terms of that, I don't know. I can't think. You asking me hypothetical questions, Trent.
Well, I'm branching off trying to carry some of the things that I see you put on social media, like,
I don't know what I would do. I'm not a go through the phone type. I've never gone through a phone.
Okay.
I don't, so.
And then I guess I'm trying to ask all these questions to see, well, like, not why it's not working. But I mean, you seem like a catch.
And thank you.
Yeah. So, and then just going back to things that you put up, every woman isn't a wife, and every man doesn't deserve to be a husband. Why do you feel like that? And you're not even in that world. Like, why do you feel like every woman isn't a wife? I told you.
Oh my god.
I be screenshotting your post. I say, look, I'm gonna get her on this show.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna get her on this show. Cause I wanna see where the imbalance is.
A wife is a role. A husband is a role. It's a job, right? Is everyone suitable for every single job in the world? Like, no, they're not. It's a lot of selfless moments.
Okay.
It's a lot of understanding. It's a lot of communication. A lot of people don't have the bandwidth to even do that. Like, it's a lot of discipline.
Okay.
It's a lot of self-analysis. Like, you have to reflect and look at, like, self. People don't have the bandwidth to do that. People don't have the bandwidth to do the work themselves. So, how do you think you're going to team up with another person, another entity, and really, move with, intent and progression? It's a lot. And then you have to raise children. It's a lot. You have to instill them. Yeah.
So men are the problem?
I'm sorry?
So men are the problem?
No, not men. I
Because
would never say men are the problem.
well,
People.
you said we're clueless.
A lot of men are clueless.
Right. So what are we not getting? What are we clueless on? Like, you know?
I think the bar has moved, right? So our grandparents.
Talk about the bar move.
You know, our grandparents and, great grandparents, they married for different reasons. They married out of self-preservation. They married out of necessity. They married if this man could provide and what he can give. That has always been the sentiment of, the bar. People didn't necessarily marry someone they considered their friend.
Okay.
But friendship, I think, is very essential. I think friendship is the foundation of what you can build upon. Friendship is going to hold each other accountable, right? I'll have more loyalty to my friend as opposed to someone who's not my friend, right?
Okay.
So therefore, you have more loyalty to the man. If you married your friend, you'll have a sense of, loyalty. You understand them. You all are in alignment, so you have no problem submitting and listening.
Okay.
As opposed to being with someone that's not.
Do you feel like you domesticated to that sense? Like once you get into relationships, dating and all that, you know how to fulfill your role, or because you've had all this time and you so like independent, like how do you even know? Do you feel like you even are ready, or do you feel like you would want that?
To what?
To companionship. Like,
companionship is very important. We're not meant to be alone in this world.
But we're almost 40.
I haven't been alone all this time.
Okay, you did so. Okay, but I mean, I guess what I'm sticking to is the post that you put up about,
Oh, just the contract,
right?
The marital agreement, the
right?
Contract.
Where you should be and all that, and how we clueless, and every woman isn't a wife. Do you think you're a wife?
Absolutely.
And why do you think that?
And that's how I was raised.
Okay. Okay. I guess that's a good one. I guess that's something to take and to use. Where do you see yourself with everything you're doing, home ownership and pharmacy? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Ooh, I really don't know, right? You make plans and God could be like, ha 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 ha,
right.
You thought. So, all I could do is strive and move forward. So in the next 10 years, honestly, we're living in times that we've never seen before. So, these are peculiar times. So, I've never seen the housing market do what it's doing. Originally, when I bought my first solo property, I was going to sell it.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, what's going on in the housing market? This is crazy. I've never seen houses jump this high so quickly. I was like, no, I'm gonna hold it. I'll rent it out and I'll just hold it. And it was the best decision that I made because the equity, it's crazy.
Right.
So, so I don't know what the housing market looks like. I don't think I want to purchase anything else in Chicago or Illinois. I'm looking to expand to different states.
Okay. Gary for sale.
Gary was cheap, like
right
a couple years ago. Now they want more for their prices. I don't know, but I'm looking to expand to different states. I have a few different states in mind.
Okay.
So we'll see what that looks like for the next few years.
Okay. What about children? You want kids?
Do I want children?
Yeah.
At one point I did, and then I was blessed to be an aunt of many. And it's a lot of work. A lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
So if I find the alignment that works, then that's something to consider.
Okay. And from what I see, you're a hell of an aunt.
Yeah.
Like,
thank you.
I saw maybe about a month or so ago, I see kids are bad.
Yeah.
Kids are bad. I'm talking about active, they terrible.
Yeah.
Attitude. I saw a group of kids jump on a child and the mother. Like, what in the hell? And then maybe not too long ago, I seen you had something similar to that happen with your nephew. And so what I do want to commend is how you and your sister and your whole family quickly came to that aid, and how you guys pressed the mayor, how you guys pressed the schools and all of that. There's some back and forth stuff, and I know it's a case going, so you can't really get too much in depth. But how important is it to make sure you're showing up for family and auntie, mama, whatever role you have? How important is it to make sure you're showing up for family? And then what pressure is it that's on the schools or whoever is in charge of your child? Like, how do you see that? Like, what's their responsibility?
So in terms of just, being a member of the village, it's important to show up.
Right.
You provide a safe space for your family. You're a part of their growth and development. It's so crazy when I hear my nephews repeat something that I've told them. He's like, well, I think I said this when he was like 4 or 3, or I don't remember, but he was like, well, auntie said, not everyone's going to be your friend, and that's okay. And I was like, I didn't know that he remembered that.
They sponges. And
I talked to him about like lions and hyenas, and how hyenas, they have to get together in a pack to take over a lion. We talked about, I talked about money and investing with my oldest, and I see that's something now he's into.
Okay.
So you just don't realize how, even though I'm a female, how much they really, really take in.
Because you don't know what they're going to retain.
I don't know what they're going to retain. But it's so interesting just to see the role that I play.
Right.
And you think, but being present is very important. And I'm grateful just to be present.
That's good. And what responsibility do you put on facilities like schools, after school places?
I think that we've come a long way in terms of, I grew up in a day where we respected our elders. I grew up in a time when I was not cursing amongst adults. I grew up in a time where everyone was miss, ma'am, mister, sir. And so I don't really see that in this generation that's coming up.
I'll agree with that.
No one was first name. The adults were not my friends. I can confide in them. I could definitely talk to them for advice, but there was still a level of respect, and they were not my friends.
Right.
It was never, oh, what's up? It was never that, So I think that adults need to get back to raising children and not being their friends. I think that, adults need to realize that children are sponges and they are watching. And so you do have to be a role model even when you think they aren't watching.
Right.
Children see it all, and you got to make sure that you're not overexposing a child, but also you have to be careful of not underexposing. There's a level of, you want your child to have experiences, but you don't want to overexpose them to, the things that you may or may not, you may indulge in. So in terms of, CPS, I don't understand why our property taxes are going up significantly in Cook County, when a lot of the schools have 8th graders that are reading at a 3rd and 4th grade level and doing math at a 3rd and 4th grade level. We have this thing called selective enrollment, where children are trying to test to get into these particular schools, but there's still not enough seats, and children on the waiting list, and and so forth. But I think a lot of schools need to provide better educators. I think a lot of our educators, I grew up in like the Beverly area, where I had educators who didn't necessarily look like me, but they were passionate about what they did. And then when you found one who looked like you, and they really looked out for you, and they really took the extra time to make sure you're getting it, but they were passionate about it because this was like their first choice. They wanted to go into teaching. I think that we have a lot of people who are teachers who didn't really want to be teachers.
I see that. Where they just concerned about the check more
They're
than
just
anything.
concerned about the check. You get a pension. But I think that, I grew up at a day in a time where, I was a spec at my school. It was only a few blacks, but it was majority, other. And we just weren't doing these things, fighting parents and fighting like that. That's absurd.
See, it's a different generation.
It's absurd. So yeah.
What do you think happened? Because we can recall a time, like you just said, I grew up in them same times where it was yes ma'am, no sir, thank you. Just all of those, you were taught your manners and things like that, but it just escaped. Like even in restaurants, you go to McDonald's, they don't say thank you anymore. Come again, they just hand you your food. Like, what do you think happened?
What happened? Society has changed. We've come so far from where we started. Like, a lot of things have happened. It was just not instilling, values into the youth, and maybe some of us have missed those values, or I can't really say what happened. I think it's been a series of different events that have happened, but
because I feel like these are our generation of children. So if we could talk about a time differently than what's going on today, it would almost feel like it's our fault.
Everyone's raising their children differently.
Okay.
People are prioritizing things differently. Kids get an iPad and go sit in the corner, and and they're just absorbing whatever they see on the iPad. There's not much community engagement. We played outside. These children aren't playing outside anymore. You put them in sports. You just try to have parents are trying to get together and have play dates for their children to try to but it's just not authentic, because I was able to choose my friends. Like, I chose my friends chose me, and that's how it wasn't necessarily parents are dictating who friends are based on their personal friendships. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I don't know, things are different. It's unfortunate,
because it's almost like in an effort to advance the world, you end up taking so much away. Like, kids don't go outside no more because they got all this damn technology. It's like a catch-22. I want you to know this computer, I want you to know all this other things, but I want you to have a social life. I want you to go outside. I want you to scrape your knee. I want you to fall. I want you to get into a fight or something. Like, these kids don't do none of that though. So it's like, I don't know, maybe I blame technology. I blame the whole efforts and advancement, because some things don't need to be changed. Some things don't need to be improved. And I feel like in our efforts to improve, we take away so much.
Right. And it's technology, but I also think it's not really having a sense of community, right? So I grew up in a time where we knew our neighbors. I grew at a time where we played ding dong ditch.
Now you get killed for that shit.
Correct. People ring on the doorbell, can Bernice come out and play? So, I just, that we don't have community. We don't even know our neighbors. We don't engage with our neighbors. We don't even trust our neighbors. So again, I think that it has to do with not just technology, but also lacking real community.
Yeah, because that is true. Even the block I'm on, I've been on this block at least 6 years, and I don't know everybody.
Right.
There's maybe I know the guy across the street, but I don't really, and I feel like I should. It's like you said, we used to have block parties. Neighbors would get together and just, if I'm not home, go to this neighbor's house. All that shit's gone.
But there are some communities that still have that.
Okay.
And they center themselves around certain neighborhoods where they can have that. But unfortunately, I think that in a lot of Black communities, that is no longer,
You think it's by design?
I think that to a degree, yes. So if you are not adequately teaching the children, they cannot go out into the world and be, a productive, the probability of them being productive in society is lower, right? and then they stay in that same community, and they aren't able to give back to community. And so it's just kind of like a cycle, you know, and you got to start out from young. So when they're young, so.
When you decide to buy homes, are you buying, how specific are you getting? So are you looking at location, like this area is getting ready to improve, let me buy something over here, or are you just kind of going with whatever's open? Like, what strategy do you use for somebody that's trying to develop a strategy?
So the first property I purchased, I knew that there was going to be some development.
Okay.
And so that occurred. Another property I purchased is 7 minutes away from the Obama Library. So I knew that was coming, and that's going to be, you know, it was an up-and-coming neighborhood. So there is strategy. Again, I don't use mortgages. I buy what my money can afford, right? Yeah, because I love the freedom of owning outright. I don't ever want to, because I've got my houses from foreclosures, right? And I'm like, you know, these banks, you know, they're ruthless, you know?
Right.
So I love to just have the freedom of knowing that a bank can never come for anything that I have.
That's good, because I saw you talk about that a lot. You just jumped out the Camry, right? Was it a Camry that you had? It was.
Oh, you're talking about my car, my first car?
Yeah,
my Nissan Altima.
Oh, Altima.
Yeah,
okay,
I had a
right.
Nissan
I remember,
Altima.
yeah, you rode that for a while, and I used to see you talk about how you knew you could get something else, but you decided to. When is that mindset trained in developed? Like, is that from your dad, or how did you get that? Because you're not frivolous. Yeah, you know, you could be out here just. You could spend 6 months in Dubai if you wanted to, or, you know, things like that. But what do you develop that mindset of?
From? You know what? That's from different experiences. So I didn't have a car in high school. I asked my dad. My dad intentionally would not buy me a car, and I'm like, dang, I'm really out here on the bus, and you could buy me 50-11 cars. You know what I mean? But I didn't realize what he was building. You know, what he was trying to instill in me.
Right.
You know, grounding, humility, you know, I got money, but you don't, you broke, you ride the bus. You know what I mean? That's my money, not yours, you know? And then when I got to college, he said, I'll buy you a vehicle your sophomore year into your junior year, because I want to make sure you're a serious student. And so I got to that point, and I started shopping for cars. And then he went to the bank, and he got a $20,000 check, a cashier's check, and he took it to Nissan Altima. He bought my car outright. And so I didn't have a car note, or nobody had a car note. We just paid for outright. We're done with it. And so I drove that car for over a decade. And before I graduated from pharmacy school, one of my preceptors, which is like a mentor, he said, first thing you do when you graduate, please do not buy a car. And I was like, dang, all right. Because, you know, I was looking like, I'm about to pop out. But he's like, please don't buy a car. And I'm one of those people, I can learn from watching, listening. I don't need to go through something to
I don't got to bump my head.
I don't got to bump my head. I see it. I hear it. I pay attention. I'm one of those people. So, you know, a lot of my classmates, they wouldn't buy brand new cars. And I was like, all right, I'm going to hold out. You know, I'm going to stack my bread. I'm going to travel. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to enjoy this freedom. And then I'm going to stack my bread. And I saved. I just saved. And that's when I said, all right, what I'm going to do with this? Because it can't just sit here. And so that's when I said I have to invest into real estate or stocks or whatever it might be.
Okay. So that mindset has to be developed. It has to be taught. Because I know it's hard for women to like not shop. I still know you get Amazon boxes here and there, but the way that you've been able to, what you've been able to get yourself to, how you carry yourself, I feel like it's all impressive. It's something to learn from. I'll be trying to pick up your strategies in regards to home buying and things like that. I'm finding out that different people have different ways.
There's a lot of ways
acquisition.
There's a lot of ways to do real estate.
Yeah, some people choose location. Some people choose, like you say, what I can grab because of or whatever the goal is. I may want to sell it all. I may want to. That's pretty good.
You know where it originated? I'm gonna tell you a backstory. I'm gonna tell you how Mac Making Drugs first came to be.
Okay.
So my great uncle Mac and my aunt Bernice, who I'm named after. So my aunt Bernice was a seamstress from Mississippi.
Okay.
She left her first husband, right, for good reasons, and she was one of the women that my uncle Mac was dating. He had an opportunity to acquire a pharmacy. This Jewish business owners were trying to leave the community because the community was no longer buying from them.
Okay.
It was a Black community, and Black people were at that time wanting to support Black business.
Of course.
So he said, I'll sell it to you for this price. But he didn't have the money. So he went to every woman that he was dating at that time. And the women that he thought would have it, and they didn't have it. They didn't have it. Nobody had it. Then he went to my aunt Bernice and asked her. And she said, tell me more about this opportunity. Okay. She said, I have it, but I'm just not going to give it to you. So, then they went, to the courthouse, signed one of those marriage contracts.
So that was a contingency. You married me, you can have all it.
They signed one of those marriage contracts, and then that's when they opened up Mac Making Drugs. And
Okay.
That's when they opened up another location, and and did very, very, very well for themselves.
Okay.
And what they built was able to transcend to 4 generations, and I'm grateful.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because they talk about generational wealth. They talk about having stuff to pass down to your children and all of that. And you guys started that practice a long time ago, so that way you can see this benefit. Which generation would you say you was in?
I'm 3rd.
Okay, right. Because people up under you, they getting ready to. So are they learning the pharmacy of the medical field right now, or do they have room to decide on what they want to do, or is it your ass is a pharmacist?
Everyone's different. Everyone's pursuing. We owned. My family also owns a towing service, a tow truck company. Okay. That's been in business for over 50 years. So a lot of my family members are in the towing company, the towing business, and then the other ones were in healthcare. But we're not necessarily, we're letting each generation do whatever it is they desire. So, right now, one of my nephews is in aviation, and that's a great field to be in. It's a lot of Blacks that are not in that. And that's something that we're pursuing because, it's not all just about healthcare.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's pretty good. So it would almost seem like it's big business going on in this family. Get it together, learn what's going on. You got room to do what you want to do, but if you don't get nothing in enough time, then you got something to fall back on. Is that
We're just doing the best we can with what we got.
I heard that. and you pretty much saying, if a guy comes to marry you, then he can get everything you get.
That's not what I said.
Okay.
That's not what I said.
I thought you was trying to be like Aunt Bernie.
That ain't what I said, Trent.
Because Aunt Bernie said, look, I got the money, you married me.
That ain't what I said, Trent. That ain't what I said.
I mean, I was just trying to.
That ain't what I said. All I'm saying is about the importance of saving an opportunity. You have to be ready.
Saving opportunity, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
Okay. What about mentorship? Like, are you involved with the youth outside of family in any kind of way?
In terms of mentorship, I started with an organization where I was mentoring when I first moved back to Chicago, high school students.
Okay.
And then, I somehow ended up, stepping away from that. And I'll do community service here and there. Like I just did community service when I was out in Atlanta, Georgia, for children at a church. But community service is something near and dear. I'm a product of the community. We've served the community. My dad told me, years ago, he said, and this isn't just my money, he said, but the money and the resources is with the people.
That's
and
true.
So you cannot stray too far away from the people. So yeah.
What do you tell them when you get a chance to tell them something that they could use, or what do you tell them in regards to, because we talked earlier about we don't know what the children will retain. When you talk to the youth, what do you hope they retain?
I mean, when I talk to the youth, it's more so geared towards healthcare.
Okay.
I don't necessarily, go into the financial part, but it's just the importance of saving, the importance of not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm big on that. Like, there's a lot of people who out here who pretend. I don't subscribe to that.
Okay.
Just trying to impress others. I could care less.
Looking like
it. I could care less. I'm all about what's real.
Right.
I've never got into like, wearing fake bags to impress people or fake this, I don't, if I can't afford the real deal, if I can't buy it 5 times over, I can't afford it.
Right.
So yeah, that's why, all right, you have opportunity to go buy this beautiful house. So I have to go to work. So I have to go and do this. So I have to go to, it's a never ending cycle. Also, I can say I have this big, beautiful home. Does that make sense what I'm saying? That really the bank can come get at any given moment. So, you just live your life and do it in your lane. Don't clock what everybody else doing in their lane. Do it your way.
Live in your lane.
Live in your lane.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Learn from others. Live in your lane.
And that's the message that you have for the youth.
I don't have a message for the youth at all. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm saying like, okay, well, we talking about mentorship. Like when you get a chance to talk to them, well, what do you hope they retain? I know you don't set the focus on finances, but just what do you tell them? Stay in your lane. Don't compare yourself
to others.
Okay. Like, should they be in a hurry to try to make it, or should they?
No,
because social media I feel like social media is tearing up the youth because they make themselves feel like they have to have it together by 18.
They do. They think they need
to
have
be
it now.
Millionaires by 18. Like, and which is why I wanted to know, like, what are you, how are you helping them? What are you telling them?
You're in your own race. I mean, we're all in our own race.
Okay. And then everything with the state of the world. What are your views on what the world looks like today? It's tough, ain't it?
It's tough. And I think that, again, we don't even have community to really embrace.
Right.
We try our best, but, the state of the world is chaotic. It's chaotic.
How do we get around it, though? Like, well, how do you get around? How would you help us? Let's say you were the president.
If I was the president of the United States.
How do you help us?
How do I help us?
Yeah.
Like, after we just took Venezuelan president? What you mean?
All of that, yeah. Yeah. Because so I see people talk about that, but I feel like at one point there's gonna be some benefit for the American. Gas will probably be 89 cents a gallon.
Right, but at what cost?
Should we care?
We should care. Because with you gotta weigh the risks associated. What are the risks of doing what we're doing?
Right.
And how will it backfire on us? We should care. I think that's something that people are very short-sighted. And they can't see anything beyond what it is they are going to gain temporarily. But we need to see long-term, what does this really look like and how this will affect us.
That makes sense. Before we get out of here, resolutions. What are your goals for 2026?
Ooh. You know what? I used to have a goal every year. Like, this year I'm doing this. This year I'm doing this. This year I'm doing this. I think that the goal for 2026 is just to, be grateful, rest, and, just be happy and live my life. The goal is, I've accomplished a lot. I've been tough on myself for many years. I'm cool.
Okay. So intangibles, the all of those other things you feel like are in place, that you would say that there's nothing to really, really work on or improve upon?
I don't know, Trent.
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
Trent, I'm not good on this. I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
I'm just grateful. I'm living in the moment. I'm happy to just be present.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm not necessarily, what's next. I want to get started on my next project. Maybe I'll say that for 2026. I got a really big project in head, but I can't talk about it. I can't share it.
But
it just got to happen. I just can't. It just got to happen.
But this is a podcast.
It just got to happen.
Okay. So now I do respect that and I do understand that. I do understand that. You have dreams and you have things. You can't talk about everything. But you got some things in the pipeline.
Got some things in the pipeline.
Okay. And I guess that's good because, you can't have everybody in your business. So.
Yeah, you was prime, boy. You was trying to get in
there. Because, I'm trying to see whether it's something that people could use. What can we, how can we inform? But for the most part, you did help us understand having a strategy for your life, understand that things take time, live in the moment, and what else? And just make all the money you can.
Yeah, make all the money you can. It's crazy out here.
Make all the money you can. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Dr. Bernie Lynn. Thanks again for tuning in to the Trent the Truth Show. Please make sure you like and subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. Follow us on social media, Trent the Truth. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you want to be a guest, email me at TrentTheTruthShow@gmail.com. Again, that's TrentTheTruthShow@gmail.com. Thanks again. Tell your friends. Watch it together.